Happy New Year, everyone. We are live. No fancy intro today. It's the first day of 2025. Like when I actually think about it, and this sounds kind of crazy, but it just sounds so futuristic. 2025. I don't know, man. It just sounds like we're living in the future with flying cars, but instead all we have is Teslas going on fire. That's really what we got, which is highly disappointing. By the year 2000, people thought we were going to have these amazing flying cars, the cure for cancer, other cool futuristic things, because apparently the cure for cancer is incredibly futuristic. We don't have that much in 2025. But it does sound rather nice, and it rolls off the tongue better than 2024. But what do you think about that? This live stream is just really going to be you and me having a good time, chilling, chatting, drinking. I got my cool Mothman cup today because my other cup is dirty. Made coffee with that one. So I'm just going to be interacting with you in the chat, talking about anything and everything that you want to talk about. The best advice I have is that if you have any questions, write them in all caps. That makes it a lot easier for me to read. But what did you do for the last day of 2024? Was it a special day or did you just sleep in? Because I ain't complaining. If you don't want to stay up until 12 p.m., I'm hitting that age. I'm hitting that age where I'm like, I don't really need that. It's okay. Hello, everyone catching this live, Sherry. I'm so glad that you like my Mothman cup. It's cool, right? I also like it, but it's for lefties. I'm a righty. So I'm over here, I'm thinking, boring in black. So I gotta hold it on this way to really show off the super sick cup. Tim, hello. Moon, Arthur, hi. Not a good start of the year. Mel, why? What happened with the WD-40 on the side in your profile picture? How did it start off so bad? Let me know. Ooh, Android, bringing in the math. It says, Happy New Year, everyone. 25% of the way to 1. Would it be 2,100? Is that how we would say it? Or like 2100? How, if we were to live that long, how would we address that year? And that also sounds kind of like dumb, but I'm being serious. Would it just be called like the year zero of 2100? Like, think about it. I'm not even joking. Take a second to consider that. P says Cristina has been too busy to do the dishes. Oh, that's so true. Man, it just takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of discipline to do the dishes. 3 meals a day, 2 meals, even 1 meal. Like, it's just so much work. Happy New Year, everyone. I was hiding from the fog, says Flubber. I've been hearing some strange things about that. Those saying that it's totally normal and others saying it's abnormal. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I've seen it across social media and people's thoughts on it. Kind of crazy stuff, really, if you think about how people are addressing it. Mike asks, what you drinking? Take a guess. Actually, you can't really see. There it is. You can a little bit see inside without tilting it all over my laptop. Take a guess, and then we can go from there. What are you guys drinking? What are you guys eating while watching this live stream? Because we are as live as it gets. No fancy intro, no UFO case studies, nothing like that. It's just us chatting, living our best lives, right? Jack says, is it true that you have Irish ancestry? That's not true. I don't know who told you that. However, I did live in Ireland for a year in my youth. So I think, yeah. And we had to learn Gaelic in school. That didn't go so great. And then when I came back to the States, according to my parents, they said that I had an Irish accent. And I was also the tannest person in my class in Ireland. And I'm like olive skin tone. They were very pale, bless their hearts. So I don't have any Irish ancestry that I know of, but I did live in Ireland for some time. Pretty cool. I know, peace. I am old. Flubber says, cool cup. Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. Karen's asking some serious questions, saying, what is Puck's favorite food? And when do we get flying cars? I can answer one of those two questions. Puck's favorite food is obviously ramen, just like me, Cristina Gomez. When are we going to get flying cars? We've actually had them for some time. They just haven't really lifted off the market. That was good. That was actually terrible. I'm sorry. But yeah, so we've had them for a while, but I don't know when they'll be sold. Instead, we have electric cars as our futuristic stuff, which you can't take on a road trip. I just recently learned that. It's terrible. Not from a personal experience or anything, but just it's just awful, actually. I'm glad everyone's liking my cup. You guys are so awesome. I'm behind in the chat already. Hold on, let me catch up. Max, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Like, these super chats and super stickers, all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters, you make these shows happen. You let me do as many shows as I possibly can fit in my day with my also doing 3 jobs at the exact same time. This is really helpful. So thank you so much. And it says, Happy New Year, everyone. Stay fit. And remember, keep your eyes off the pies. Ooh, Max, what's your favorite flavor pie? And is pie a dessert that's like an all year round? Or is it only near like Thanksgiving and then 4th of July? I need to know. Tell me. I'm not a huge pie person. I'm more of like a Nutella on the spoon person. But pecan pie, I've had it. And you know what? It's not bad. It's overtly sweet. So just one little slice is enough for me. But yeah, pecan pie or pecan pie, which I think is really fun to say, is good. I like it. But for everyone else, what is your favorite flavored pie? Buttermilk pie. I have not heard of this flavor, Blue, with the super cool TARDIS profile picture. Did you watch the Christmas special of Doctor Who? I was genuinely surprised for the ending, the way that they've been, kind of handling the show the last few seasons. I was like, wow. Overall, it was a good show. I like the Christmas special of Doctor Who, the latest season. Ooh, John aside, who do you want to interview in 2025? Like the top 3. I feel like a lot of people that I've interviewed, I've already like checked off my list of people that I've really wanted to speak to. So as of right now, I actually, you know what? I actually can't answer that question. I gotta really think about it. If I had this super long list, who would be the absolute people I would want to interview? Can I come back to that one? I will say that I will have the interviews out for the rest of the week and maybe into next week for the Nazca mummy's body specimen, however you want to address them. And the first one was with a law attorney, Josh McDowell. Then the remaining 3, maybe 4, are scientists, like plastic surgeons, forensic scientists, biologists. I think, and there's one more. And it's escaping me what his title is. But those will be coming out soon and they're really interesting. I was like literally in the depths of editing one of them right before it went live. And it's coming along nicely. I think many of you are going to really enjoy it if you're interested in this kind of topic, of course. Mal says, thanks for the chill time. Oh, did you answer my question as why it wasn't a good year? I think I missed it. Put it in all caps so I can read it out loud. But thank you so much for that. This is just chill. Us chilling. Pecan pie, says Brian. Yes, it's good. Have you tried chocolate pecan pie? Asks Debbie. No. But that sounds yummy. Okay. Pies are delicious UFO dishes. You're a poet and you didn't even know it, Dennis. That's a good one. I like it. Blueberry pie, cherry pie, custard, apple pie. Man, you guys are killing it with all the pies. Pumpkin pie. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of pumpkin pie, but apple pie I heard is delicious. I also don't really like it. Let's see. I'm a cheesecake person, which is a pie and not a cake. The more you know, Mike, because I'm not a dessert connoisseur. I actually have this odd fear of baking. It's nothing like cooking, because cooking you can like taste as you go, doing constant taste tests. Baking, it requires courage to be like, it's going to be perfect the first time around. The measurements are going to be amazing. I'm going to put the perfect amount of vanilla extract. And then you can't taste it until it is done and usually cooled. I don't know what it is. I can barely even make chocolate chip cookies, which I've been thinking about for days. And I don't have the discipline to make it. But like cooking savory foods, you can count on me. I can make that no problem. Cakes, breads, pastries, I can barely even make pancakes that taste good. Sad, really. Android, thank you, as always. It says, spent my New Year's Eve night discovering my 11X great-grandfather was one of the founding men of the Hartford, Connecticut. I was stuck in that rabbit hole. How exciting, Android! That is 11 times great-grandfather. That's like, what? That's crazy. But that's super exciting. Congratulations on that. And thank you for always supporting the channel as well. Yeah, I work 3 jobs. I know it's rough, but it is what it is in this economy, right? I also love what I do. And for those that, so people are like, I've had comments and it doesn't really bother me, but people are tell me, get a real job. You should be a waiter at a restaurant, like learn the ropes. And I'm thinking, I've been in customer service since I could get a job. Like me and people, I can handle it. It's not a problem. But that's why I only have a social battery of like a few hours before I just go in home, and treat it like a cave and do not want to be disturbed. But I've been working in customer service since the beginning. Actually, fun little fact, my mom's friend, when I was like 4, owned a cafe. And this is actually like classified as illegal now, but I would work there at the age of 4, washing the dishes in return for payment in ice cream. I don't think I even should be saying that, but it's okay because that was so many years ago now. And at the time I was like, man, I'm living the dream, getting paid in ice cream. I mean, what else could I ask for? Now I'm thinking back and I'm like, man, I could have started investing in Apple or buying a house at that time with the money given to me by that cafe owner. So there were some flaws there in my past, but here we are today, living our best lives, talking about our passion, which is UFOs, the UFO phenomenon, staying afloat, right, financially, and drinking some chocolate milk in my Mothman cup. What else in this world do we need, right? Maybe some good sleep, maybe some vitamins. Yeah. And then feel like you're good. We don't need too much to live and survive. Just the mere basics. Oh, and some baguette bread. With some soft butter and a little bit of cheese. I'm getting old, but it's so good. So good. If you have any questions, place them in all caps. It'll be a lot easier for me to read them in the live chat. And it's just us hanging out. What are you drinking today? What are you eating today? Either for like New Year's, like as a special day, or as just another regular, what day is it today? Wednesday. Just another regular Wednesday. What are you eating? Especially right here, right now while watching the stream. Ashley asks, will you have Eric Bard back on the show? I hope so. It's always a pleasure to speak with the Skinwalker Ranch team. It's always difficult to coordinate with their schedules, however. They're very busy people, along with filming during their TV shows, but it would be a pleasure to be able to speak with them again. Definitely. I know, Dennis. Great question. And I've answered this before, but maybe you missed the live one, so that's totally okay. So it turns out, inflation, right? RVs are incredibly expensive and they have been as the years progress and maintaining them. So it turns out I'm just going to end up renting an RV, traveling the US, hitting all the UFO and paranormal hotspots, which at the end of the day, it's not only more financially possible, but also overall, it's just a safer option as well. Because like living on the road is really tough. So having like a home base and then also being able just to travel at a week's time, 2 weeks' time, overall is just a wiser idea. So when I rent an RV, you guys will be the first to know about it. Now that we're hitting the new year, I got some plans. I got some big plans going on, but not a 5-year plan. I don't know how, at least for myself, I can't think that far ahead. I kind of live in the moment and hope for the best and have some stuff planned, down the line, but like a 5-year plan, I mean, woo, that one's tough. Yeah. Grandma Cristina. That's me, at least on the inside. I feel like a grandma on the inside. Steven, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says, happy 2025. Right back at you. Hopefully, and we say this all the time, but like, hopefully it's our year. At the very least, just like our day. Like, just a nice day, staying at home, recovering from the hangover, sleeping in, taking naps, eating some baguette bread with a little bit of cheese. It's nice just to have days off, right? And chatting with you like this, it's a day off for all of us. It's nice. Let's see. Charles says, will you travel to Travel Canada UFO hotspot and Livestream Canada? I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to go outside of the US as of yet, but it's a possibility. I do know people that are in Canada that have opened the doors for me to go and hang out with them, but I haven't thought that far through on that one. Yeah, no hangover, says Bigfoot Dwarf. I hope not. That sounds awful. But New Year's, the holidays, right? People get hangovers, and we just need a whole day to recover after that. First time viewer, Philip, hello, welcome. If you are interested in UFO news, updates, case studies, interviews, and more, this is the channel for you. So subscribe, and I got some cool stuff coming up for the rest of the week into next week. But today, just a very chill, talkative day with whatever you want to chat about. Nothing specific on like UFO news or anything like that. Just two people, two bros, drinking a cup of whatever you feel. For me, it's chocolate milk. Nick says, Canada, America's hat. I think like Canada is America's hat. Yeah, I feel like that too sometimes. Sherry says that Skinwalker Ranch has a campground just west of it. The more you know. I feel like only the biggest fans know that. Sherry, are you a fan? But now I need to go visit it. Chris says, what are your thoughts on more UFO information being released this year? I'm optimistic. I'm not going to say this is the UFO disclosure year that we hear every single year from UFO researchers or those that say, I have somebody on the inside and they told me in 16 months we're going to get the news. And then we're always left disappointed every time. I'm not that person. I think that the way that things are going so far or how it's being talked about is going overall in the right direction, minus the whole conversation about drones. That seems like a kind of conditioning for people to not see UFOs as UFOs, but as drones. Pushing that part aside, we can talk about this more so than ever. Every single year, there are more channels and podcasts focused on UFOs, more so than any other year. So that's exciting. I think we're going to get more information coming out. I would love for it to be smoking gun information or the disclosure year, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. We won't know until we're living in that moment. Now, some will say, are we in that disclosure period now of us just having these kinds of conversations, seeing how Congress is handling this in the United States and around the world, right? It depends on how you classify disclosure, but all I can state is that we're heading in the right direction from what I'm seeing. I'm optimistic for 2025. and I'd like to see what it has in store for us. And then, of course, this is going to be the place, the channel, to stay up to date on all the UFO news, or on my website at ufonews.co, not .com. And there, anytime UFO is mentioned in the media, my website is an aggregate website, so you can find it right there. There's no need to scroll through social media hoping to find UFO news and just doom scroll. ufonews.co does all that hard work for you and clips out only the important information. It helps me with my investigations. Hopefully, it keeps you up to date as well. So make sure to bookmark it, to look it over, because it's going to be worth your time. And here's that little thingy, ufonews.co. So easy to remember, right? Nothing complex. I'll leave that up. There it is, up for everybody. NB says, what happened to those 40 whistleblowers? I wish I had the answer. I don't. I don't know. We've heard about this from a few people that are prevalent in the media, and we haven't gotten anything yet. Will they come in 2025? Let's look at this just for a moment. Looking at David Grush, when he came out in July of 2020, well, really in May, June of 2023, he was treated horribly, awful. Elizondo has been treated pretty bad. I think for the other whistleblowers that want to come forward, they're looking at Grush, they're looking at Elizondo and seeing how it's just hasn't really been a smooth, easy ride for them, that maybe they're hesitating. There's also possibilities that they are being told to not come forward. There are threats maybe happening in the background. The possibilities are endless on this one. I would like to see more people come forward, but to my understanding right now, there aren't any like whistleblower protection laws. They have been mentioned by Congressman Marco Rubio, by Chuck Schumer as well, but I don't know if it's actually been implemented as of yet. So that could also be a reason as to why these 40 other whistleblowers have yet to come forward. That's my guess, at the very least. Killer, by the way, happy birthday for Cash. How did it go? I saw your comment that you actually bought things for yourself, got some good snacks for you. That's so exciting. Happy birthday. And he's asking, what do we do when we finally get full disclosure? That's a very legitimate question, because there are so many. That's water. There are so many that don't really know what they're going to do. They've been pushing all these years for disclosure, and then what, right? And then you get it, and then what? What's the next step? I hear you. I really do. And the biggest thing is that what does disclosure mean to you? To anyone, right? Is it when you have your own experience? Is that disclosure? Is it when the government finally says, guys, aliens? Is that disclosure? Is it by doing the research, right? Is it when science and data comes forward proving of another civilization across our galaxy? And then what? I think that this is a never-ending rabbit hole that we might not ever get this level of full disclosure where people are satisfied. But there are some that feel like they have all the answers and they're done researching, they're done listening. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because once that glass is half full mentally, you are not willing to learn any new information, especially if it doesn't fit into your paradigm, which is dangerous and which creates not only debunkers, but also very arrogant people as well. It's very important to constantly stay open-minded and to have mentally a glass that is at the very least half empty, so you can always feed off of new information. That's what I think about that one. Jeff says, nice beanie. Thank you. It's my merch. I made it. My merch isn't currently for sale. It's only for my Patreon members at this time. But maybe as 2025 unravels, maybe I'll start throwing some cool stuff out there. Like the merch that I make it with me in mind that if I like it, that's all that matters. If I love it, I'm like, man, this is so awesome. Then someone else will like it. But this one, it's simple, but it took me a while to really think about it. I'm so glad that you like it. Thank you. Happy New Year, William. So good to see you here. And everyone that's catching this live on a very chill Wednesday, the very first show of the year. This is such a great way to start off the year with talking to you, getting to know you, hearing your thoughts and insights, maybe on 2024. Let's start off with this. What has been, in your opinion, one of the most important things when it comes to UFO news that took place in 2024? It was like an hour and 10-minute review on it. And man, I was speeding through it. At the end, I'm like gasping for air with like a really dry throat. But it was really important to cover, from my research, all the things that took place in 2024 that I thought were important. And there might have been some things that I missed. So I want to hear from you. What has been your biggest thing that you noticed in 2024 for UFO news? Oh, Peace is asking a health question here. I know you eat healthy ramen and drink healthy chocolate milk, but do you do any kind of regular physical exercise like hiking, gym workouts? What are you trying to say, Peace? Do I not look healthy? Is that it? It's okay. I do. Yes, I do enjoy hiking. Try to stretch most mornings. It's a great way to start the day, but I do eat healthy to my eyes, and I don't eat a lot. So I'll have like 2 meals a day and snack a little bit, but I usually hydrate on water, some coffee, and then eat things that aren't incredibly processed, like ramen, but ramen's a vice, okay? I really do enjoy it. It's good. See. I want you guys to answer my question on the biggest highlight. Sherry, thank you for that super sticker. Thank you so much. I'll get to the bottom of this. Here we go. Blue says, I think whatever went down at Miami Mall wasn't aliens, probably more a multiverse thing. That's an interesting theory, but it's only appropriate coming from someone with a profile picture of a TARDIS. Jonacide says drones, a lot of drone talk with people. I don't know. That's been fun conversations. It has. And now more than ever, we're the people that our cousins, our siblings, our coworkers finally call to get information on this topic. Because while a lot of people are interested in this now about the UFO phenomenon, drones taking place, just because you're interested in something doesn't always mean that you're knowledgeable in it, which isn't poking at anybody. That's just a statement. And so now we're getting these phone calls from people that we know or those that are our acquaintances, and they're like, hey, can you kind of fill in the gaps on this? And you know what? I love it. I love that so much. And then you can point people to the direction of this channel to be like, hey, subscribe to Cristina Gomez because she stays up to date on all the UFO news and even historical case studies. Like, that is the place to go, right? That's what I tell people, at least. Ramen 24/7. Oh yeah, Nick, you know what's up. The Vegas UFO, says Adrian. That was an interesting case of last year. Saying that feels so weird. Yeah, last year, it's like almost that dad joke, right? Where it becomes 12:01. Hey, I haven't seen you since last year. It never gets old, and simultaneously, it's cringe and it's always old. And yet, I'm saying it at this point. I love me a good dad joke. And if you have your questions, place them in all caps. It's a lot easier for me to read them. But I still want to know, what you think one of the biggest highlights of 2024. Karen says, more people asking questions in 2024 than ever. That is absolutely right. I love it. Bear says, should the government have any influence on what world my friends come from? All that I can mention is the government has the biggest audience in the sense of like people are listening to them more so than any celebrity, any podcaster, so on and so forth. And while people don't necessarily trust what the government has to say, them just addressing this topic, holding hearings on this topic, trying to protect UFO whistleblowers, it's prevalent. It shows the citizens of that country that there is some credence to it. There is some credibility to it. And so do I think that they should be like the spokespersons for this topic? Not necessarily. Just because what comes out of their mouth, people just don't trust them like they used to. But again, just them addressing it is making a difference, definitely. And that's a big reason to why we're having this conversation so freely, more so than before, is just because there's this foundation has been laid down that it's okay to talk about, and you're not crazy. You're not a part of the tinfoil hat community. This is a normal conversation, and there is some interest to it. There are some historical cases to it, and there is science behind it as well. Paul says probably the congressional hearing as far as progress. Yeah, it was a pretty good hearing, not as great as the one in 2023, but just them covering it was good. Uncle Heavy, that's a funny name, says today has been the warmest and the coldest day of 2025. The more you know. I didn't know that. Mark, thank you so much for the super chat and supporting the channel. Like these chat stickers, YouTube members, and of course all of my amazing Patreon supporters like make this show happen. You let me do as many shows as I possibly can on this show, which is like 2 to 3, and then still hold my 3 jobs. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for helping out and helping me make great content for UFO news and updates and things like that. Charles says, do you like ice blended chocolate with ice cream blended? Like milkshakes? I do like milkshakes. I like strawberry milkshakes. Those are good. Lord Sub-Zero says, what's your opinion about this simulation hypothesis? I've done a whole show on this hypothesis before. And I think it's plausible. And let me explain on that before people are like, oh, you're part of the flat earth people. No. First of all, from science alone, we know that atoms are 99% empty. Like we know that now. So that's one thing that's already weird. But if we look at ancient cultures, ancient teachings from the East, specifically, we're looking at India, we're looking at China, it's been believed that we are living not necessarily in the term simulation, but we're living in this realm of illusion. And in Buddhism and in Hinduism, it's called samsara, where we're just in this realm to learn and to progress, but to continue the cycle of reincarnation until one enlightens or realizes that they are no longer living inside of this illusion. When we change the vocabulary on that statement of the definition of samsara, it sounds very similar to the simulation hypothesis. So looking at that, I think there is some credence to it. I will mention also, to give you a background and maybe show you my mentality, is that I've been practicing Buddhism since I was 16, joined a Buddhist temple at that time. And so I've learned about these things, and I also have an interest in Hinduism as well, as they do play hand in hand, especially when looking at Taoism, which kind of is a mixture of the two. In some ways, people will disagree with me, but from my research and my perspective, that's how I can see the correlation of the two ideologies and or religions. But I think that there is something to it, and I feel like also when we think that we are living in a simulation, it places in perspective that things at the time that we thought was so important and it's making us feel all of these emotions means nothing the next day, the next year. So that in itself, at least for me, it pacifies me and my emotions where I'm like, I have to get this done, I have to figure this out. I take a step back and I'm like, you know what, actually, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. I'll get it done when it needs to get done, but there's no need to really stress about it, about anything. So I think there's some positives to considering that hypothesis. That was a very lengthy answer. Morris, thank you so much for the super sticker. It says the Galaxy knows the Miami Mall has the best prices. Is that true, Morris? Because I think we all want to save money, especially in 2025, right? So it's got good prices. Might as well go. I hear they also have nice weather in Miami from time to time, not in the summer, but in that nice fall section. Even winter, if you're not looking for snow, I hear it's nice. I've got a lot of to catch up on. Chris, thank you. It says, I really liked your space music. Do you have any link to share? Where can I find more of your music? So, for those that don't know, I make space ambient music. It is called Cosmic Portals. You can find it on YouTube at Cosmic Portals, or if you look in the YouTube description box, there is all of Christina's links. Click on that, and it'll show you a section of music. There you can find it, but probably the easiest thing to do is just type in Cosmic Portals on YouTube and it'll show up there. But it's space ambient music that I made with myself in mind because I suffer with insomnia. So it's to help me sleep, but also to aid in meditation and even just to like use your imagination to wander the universe. It's very relaxed, very chill music, but with a little bit of oomph to it. And I hope that those that haven't heard it, they enjoy it. And Chris, thank you so much for the kind compliment and that you like the music. That's really good to hear. John, we're on the same wavelength. Nice. You can ask that question. It's okay. Let's see. I'm going to just bring this down to the bottom. Carrie says, do you think we'll ever know more about crash retrievals? I want to be optimistic. I hope so. Especially how things have been going, bringing again the conversation of David Grush. He had spoken about crash retrieval programs. Elizondo has alluded to it as well. It's in people's minds. It's in their consciousness at this point of showing it, having an interest in it. Now it just depends on if these 40 whistleblowers will come forward and talk about these things from a firsthand perspective. That would be really, really worth listening to. Maybe 2025 might have information on that, but as of right now, I don't know. I don't have any inside people like other researchers mentioned. I have people on the inside and they told me and they tipped me off. And I'm like, I'm not cool like that apparently because I don't have that. People that have sent me, and I get a lot of these emails, people that send me emails of like, hey, Christina, I have information to give to you. I'm a retired military official. Oh man, the red flags in my mind are going insane. I'm like, are you trying to use me as a conduit to give misinformation to the people around me? I am not playing those games with anybody. I don't have time for that. I'm too old for that mentally, and I'm not for it. And there are others that like just kind of like to give this like ego boost of like, I have people on the inside and I'm just so cool. I don't want to give people that false hope, or those false narratives either. So I'm not in that. And if I do have news, I will share it. I have no problem sharing that information if I were to get it. But as of now, no, I don't. I'm apparently not cool enough to get that kind of information from people. Maybe soon. Maybe at some point, they'll be like, oh, Christina, you're so cool. Let me hand over this information to you, right? We're not there yet. And if you have your questions, put them in all caps. It's easier for me to read. Yeah, Nick says, it's happening in 2025. Trust me, bro. I'd like to. I'm like 50-50 on the optimism of like, yes, I want to be optimistic, but I'm also skeptical on it. Yeah, Chris Zen says, I ain't got no time for that. I said it wrong the first time. So I had to fix it the second time. Right, Oscar? I have connections story. I know we hear that so many times, right? And most of the time, I'll roll my eyes and I'll say, here we go again. Either give us the information or shut up. That's my narrative. Like don't tease me or I shouldn't say that. Yeah, don't tease me to say, "Oh, I have the information, but I can't share it with you." Either share it or just don't speak. It's not hard. You have two choices. So that like really turns me off when people do that. And I know I'm not the only one there. Mike says, if there was one case you could know everything about, 100% facts, what case would it be? Oh, the Claris Brazil incident. Done. I know people are going to say Roswell, which is a great case. Love it. But Claris Brazil. I want to know what those craft were, why there were so many for 6 months every single night, what happened to the people because they got puncture wounds. We have solid evidence on that. I want to know what really happened, what was going on, and why these entities were doing that. So, Colares, Brazil from 1977. That's what I want to know. Everything about. Even if it's like dark, I want to know. It's just it matters to me. Oscar says, have you been visited by the Men in Black? I have not. I haven't. However, I do look over my shoulder whenever I'm out. But I've also been taught as a child because my father was in law enforcement of like always look at your exits, always see if you're being followed by people or by cars, and just always know your surroundings. So I've been taught that at a very young age, and now doing what I do, right? There is this level of fear for some people that they don't want to share too much information out of their safety and things like this. I am always looking over my shoulder, just not just because of the MIB, but like threats in general. To me, from the mentality that I've been taught as a child, coming from family and law enforcement, is that everyone's a threat. You never know if they're holding something that could hurt you, right? So that's actually that sounds really paranoid, but in reality, you should be scared of the living and not the dead. So I'm always looking everywhere, especially when I'm driving. I've been followed. Okay, here's a funny story. I was, gosh, 17, and I was just driving, and I was being followed. Now at this time, even today, I was a nobody. I'm still a nobody, and I don't know why I was being followed by someone. And so I had to make some very quick decisions of doing illegal turns on the road to lose the person that was following me. And then I lost him and it was fine. And I drove home and I was like, Dad, I'm so scared. And if that were to happen again, man, I got my baby in 4-wheel drive. I'll take that bad boy anywhere. But yeah, the first time's always a little scary. And then you just kind of brush it off like it's no big deal. Let's see. Your questions, put them in all caps. I know I'm behind on the comments, but I'll try to catch up with you guys. And some of these questions, I don't actually understand them. So if I skipped your question, type it in again, but maybe just like rephrase it a little bit different so I can kind of really give you good answers. Nick says Latina rage is real. Oh, it's real and it's scary. Okay, I'm whitewashed, so it's like not so bad, but like the full-blooded, better watch out. Some scary stuff. Dan, thank you. It says, Happy New Year, Cristina, and all the success for 2025. Right back at you, my friend. Happy New Year, and I wish you and everyone listening to this, either live or on replay, the absolute best, the utmost success. But the biggest thing is happiness. I just want you to be happy this year. That's what matters to me. That's right, MB. Oh yeah, he's cool. I like my dad. Let's see. Thanks, Chris. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Max, thank you again. And it says, think about it. Crashed UFOs are just failed military testing of orb plasma technology. Grush talked about bodies as non-human, could mean that they're using mice as passengers. That's a possibility. I don't see any flaws in that statement that you mentioned. I think it's possible. Now, there have been some theories, however, and just hear me out, that some of these craft that have crashed have been crashed with a purpose of maybe like that's the only way that technology can be shared between these beings that aren't human with humans. It's a theory. That's what I've heard. Is that true? We don't have the answers to that. But I think that could possibly hold some merit along with your response as well. Could it be military? Yes. Could it be extraterrestrial? Yes. If we look at the ones from the past, like before 1947, it's a bit more difficult to place them on the category of military. Like the one in Italy back in 1933, for instance, according to David Grush, that was later written by an Italian UFO researcher. His name escapes me, but I know it's like a really cool Italian name. I'm like doing the hand gestures just to remember. Pinotti, that's his name. Italian researcher Pinotti has also spoken about that crash in 1933. And I think if we go further back in time, it's harder to pinpoint the crashes to the military. Paul says, what promoted your interest in the subject? Did you have a personal experience? It was actually the Twilight Zone, the best TV show of all time. Also being surrounded by those that allowed me to ask questions, to be curious, and also like feed my curiosity on the topic, on the paranormal, on folklore and legends as well. I think that when you're given that foundation as a kid to like think of things beyond the mundane explanations, it, at least in my case, it kind of led me into this topic. So both my parents love this kind of stuff, and they passed it down to me. Jose says, "Hola from Sydney, Australia." Hola. Do you think disclosure has to be worldwide and not just in the US? Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's what disclosure means. It's like a whole world incident. And we know that the United States is actually very behind with their UFO office that was created in 2022, which was the UAPTF. Uruguay had one of the very first UFO offices that was created in the late 70s, early 80s. And then other parts of Latin America have had their offices for quite a few decades. Looking at China, Japan, and Russia as well, they've had theirs for quite some time. The US and Canada are the ones that are very behind on this, at least from a public stance. If we were to get disclosure, it would be something that would be shown to the entire world, I think, or at least I hope, right? So if there were to be something that would take place in Russia, I would hope, or like let's say in Japan or in Brazil, I would hope that it would catch the news internationally to share the topic. It's unfortunate that cases from those other countries haven't hit the US media, for instance. Some examples of this is the 2016 incident that was investigated by Brazilian ufologist Ronnie Vernet, who had documented an incident very similar to the Colares Brazil case back in 1977, where these indigenous people were terrorized by these craft in the sky. And the people had very similar side effects as well. that didn't hit the media. No, actually, people don't know about it unless you know who Ronnie Vernet is and his research, which is disappointing, but that's just how it is. Now, if this were to take place in the United States, I think it might gain more traction media-wise, because it seems like the US is always in the limelight for these kinds of topics and conversations. It's disappointing to say, but that's just how I see it. So would disclosure really be a US thing or an international thing? I think you have a really good question there. And I don't know the answer to it. Now that I'm talking to myself on this, I'm thinking, I don't actually have a good answer. Great question. Uncle Heavy says, Christina, when disclosure finally happens, how surprised will you be to find out that big corporations hold all the earthly patents? I wouldn't be surprised. And let me just kind of preface some stuff. The US government, they are required to give information because of FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act request. Now, they can give it to you tomorrow, they can give it to you in 10 years, but they are required to give you some kind of information. This is why the government, at least in the States, they hire contractors where they can give the information to these other companies to where FOIA doesn't have to be used on them. So it wouldn't be surprising for private companies to have this information, to have covered craft or bodies, but it's not going to benefit UFO disclosure by any means. I think people need to look at as one of those corporations is the Bigelow Aerospace, right? Like we all know our Bigelow has like this intense interest in UFOs and the paranormal. He even has his own consciousness institute, but nothing can touch him. FOIA can't touch him, and he's not required to give information. That's just one of many companies that probably have some good information on the topic. So I wouldn't be surprised. Just disappointed. Kind of sad. Charles says, do you like toy comic convention? I don't even know what that is, but it's like a group of people, like a really big group of people. Yeah, I'll pass. I'm not into the whole like conventions and festivals kind of deal. I don't really like those that much. But that's just me. Let's see. Place your questions in all caps. It's much easier for me to read. I feel like I'm really behind on this. And ooh, Walt says, if you had an experience with a shapeshifter in the middle of the night, would you tell anyone? At this point, I would. Oh, yeah. A few years ago, probably not. And I have a story for you. I think it was my senior year in high school. It's like 3 a.m. and I woke up out of nowhere and I saw this shadow entity enter my room. And at that moment, I was like, it's no big deal. But like you could just feel a presence. Like it was an entity that was just coming inside. And I kind of freaked out. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what is this thing? This is the kind of before I was really interested in this topic. And then I was about to scream, but I couldn't. Like I physically could not scream. Now, while this entity is looking at me, you could see its red glowing eyes. And then somehow it came from it like teleported almost from the foot of the bed to right next to my ear. I could feel the heat of like someone talking to me. You could feel that breath. And it said something that I didn't understand that was very inaudible. And then it disappeared. I had never been so scared in my life in the middle of the night, dealing for the first time with sleep paralysis, seeing a shadow person for the very first time. And I told nobody. Nobody knew about it until I shared my experience like 2 years ago. And so it's been in the back of my mind all of this time. And I actually forgot about the encounter, funny enough, until I was asked about it. And I said, wait, hold up. Actually, no, I had an experience my senior year in high school. And then the memories just flooded in. And I'm like, how did I forget this? So back then, I wouldn't share that encounter. Today, if I were to see a shapeshifter come into my room, I would share it. I'd be like, guys, you will not believe what just happened to me. This way it'll be documented, right? It'd be important to talk about and to cover. And if anyone that ever has an experience with a UFO sighting or something strange, definitely report it online. There's some great UFO outlets, to a friend, in an email, have it in written format, definitely. But report your encounters and your sightings. It's so important for data collection. And a lot of researchers actually need that information. So don't be shy. You can do it anonymously if you really want to. It doesn't add as much credibility to the story that you give, but it's still better than nothing. So this year in 2025, if you have an encounter, if you have a sighting, share it. That's my hope for you this year. That's my goal for you this year, is to do that. Yes, the red glowing eyes is pretty freaky stuff, to be fair. Trying to catch up on your guys' comments. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button right down below and subscribe if you haven't already, as I do several shows right here every single week that cover UFO news, updates, case studies, interviews, and more. Today's a very chill day, just you and I chatting, having a good time. But this show focuses, and the whole niche is UFOs. So if you're into that kind of stuff, subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and I got some pretty cool stuff for you these next few days. I'm very excited to share it with you all them very soon. Jerry, hit that like button. Yeah, guys, do it. Woo! Tyler says, oh, I missed it. Tyler says, in your astral projection attempts, have you ever successfully remote viewed anything? That's a great question. No. So sad. So sad. I've been trying. I don't know if practicing is the right word to use, but I've been trying to astral project for at least 3 years now. And almost every single night, I will tell myself, tonight's the night. Today I'm going to do it. I'm going to travel. I have yet to succeed. I've read every book. I've watched every documentary. I've read all what the experts have to say. Trust me, I have done the work. And I haven't been able to do it. It makes me sad. It definitely deflates me from time to time, but I'm still willing to keep trying because what do I have to lose? Nothing. I've also tried to lucid dream as well in order to get into in order to astral project. I've been able to lucid dream twice, but I haven't been able to hit that threshold of astral projection. Lucid dreaming, of course, the first thing I did was fly. I flew everywhere. I was like, man, this is so awesome. And then I got so excited, I woke up and I kicked myself in the foot. I said, man, Cristina, you really suck. How could you get so excited that you'd wake up? I was very upset at that time. And that was years ago. And I haven't been able to replicate it since, which is sad, but it is what it is. I've also tried to remote view as well. And I can do like the little tiny things, but I haven't been successful on that either. So I think the only thing that I can do is just meditate. That's what I do in my free time when I can, is just really quiet the mind, quiet the thoughts, and it's going to sound really, really woo, but just being grateful for all the things that I have, to talk to you, to have you guys support the work that I do, being healthy, being happy, all these things. I really am so grateful for everything that I have in my life, and for all of you that believe in the work that I do and that are here today and every day. It sounds so sappy and I never say it, but just thank you. I really mean it. Okay, that's it. No more sap, okay? I'm sorry. I don't know a lot about the Kundalini. I know enough about it that it's kind of more of a dangerous art to practice, but I haven't tried it myself. That's as much information as I can give on that one. Hyde says, look at that, we're matching. It looks just like your profile picture. Asks, will Gomez go to the UFO hearing in 2025? If there is a hearing, I'd like to, but man, I saw the line from the 2024 hearing. Dude, it was long, and people were staying out, camping out when it was freezing cold. I might just watch it from home if that's going to be the case. I don't know yet. I'd like to. That'd be fun, but depends on like what time of year it is and all these different things. If I can get work off, blah, 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 all that fun stuff, which is like not fun at all. Oh, that's cool, Mel. I flew out of body as a raven. That's sick. Whenever I think of ravens, I think of Edgar Allan Poe every time. I really like that poem too. I appreciate you. I really do. Sherry says, honestly, most of the time I'll lucid dream to Disneyland because why not, right? Get on those rides for free. Instead of paying the ticket's like $60 or something like that. It's wild how much it costs to go to an amusement park. Yeah, if you can lucid dream, yeah, go to Disneyland. Why not? Sounds like fun. Got a lot of lucid dreamers over here. That's sick. Really is very cool. Wish I could do that. Taryn says, do you think UFOs, paranormal, and consciousness are all connected? Yes. It's definitely been a more conversational topic that people have mentioned. It was mainly highlighted by Jacques Vallée, and then soon after, J. Allen Hynek, years after he retired from Project Blue Book. Well, wasn't really retired. He was kind of kicked to the curb. But as of like today, in the last five years, it's more of a almost like common knowledge that there is this connection between all of them. Also, labels are confusing. Maybe what you saw that you deemed as a ghost might have been an interdimensional from a different planet, maybe. Angels and demons, they are aliens. I'm saying it because they do not originate from Earth. Anything that is not from Earth is an alien. Angels, demons, those are aliens. Can fight me in the comments on that one. But there is a connection between all of them from my research as well, along with many other people. Raven, that's wild. That's real crazy. People can see the future. You could tap into that and be like Nostradamus or something, or Baba Vanga. That'd be cool. Why not? Get to see the future. I hear it's dangerous and kind of depressing, but if you can do it, cheers. You guys are so awesome sharing all your lucid dream stories and that you can even lucid dream. That is so cool. Can you astral project, though? That's the question. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chat. Ooh. Marty says, my son has precognition dreams. That's cool. That's very cool. My mom, whenever like a special loved one passes away, she always knows about it because they come to her in her dreams before she's given the news. I don't know what that is. I don't know why she didn't pass that down to me. But it's always the moms and the grandmas, right? That have that kind of like weird power. I don't have it. It's disappointing. Mom, if you're watching this, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué? That's my question for you, Mom. Was everybody drinking and eating today during our very chill live stream? Hit that like button right down below. It lets me know that you're enjoying the show and that you're having a good time hanging out with me on a very chill new day of the year. First day of the year. This is the first show of the year. It's a nice day. It is nice. I enjoy this. People are having coffee, like Chris, Marty, black coffee. Nice. Chai tea, all work and low pay. I have some mini wheats. Have you seen that commercial with Family Guy where Stewie's like, wheat thins, wheat thins? And that's an old commercial now, but now whenever I see wheats or wheat thins, I can only, in my mind's eye, think about that commercial. That's when marketing was good. Cappuccino. Yummy, Chris. That sounds really good. That's right, Crit. That is right. Interdimensional beings. Yes, they are. Which some, depending on labels, would classify as aliens. But labels are confusing, and they can definitely muddy the waters for sure. But also, labels are important. And there's this term that I learned, this metaphor. It's like if you name it, you tame it. Which positive in some ways, negative in others, in the sense of like drones, where you're calling everything a drone, you're naming it, and you're taming the narrative in your favor if you want to go with the drone narrative, right? But in other situations, for instance, like in personal interactions, and maybe you feel like someone's always mad at you or upset with you, right? If you name it saying, oh, this person gave me this micro expression of like a lifted eyebrow or a little like a meep face. If you name it, then you can tame it, and then you no longer feel those emotions of sadness, depression, anxiety, and so on. So there are positive and negatives to that term. When it comes to ufology, it's a negative. When it comes to like your social interactions, that's a positive. And I just showed you my really ugly pinky. I'm so sorry. I smashed it in between a chair, and it doesn't hurt, but like it is just gross. And I am sorry I scarred your eyeballs just now. Just don't look back at it. Drinking my hot chocolate. That sounds delicious. Do you put marshmallows in your hot chocolate is the question. Because that stuff is good from time to time. Hot chocolate in a bit. Forgot the marshmallows though. Oh no, Garcia, I'm so sorry. But they can be good, but also it's like literally pure sugar. So maybe not super awesome. That's funny, Tyler. No mushrooms. Mushrooms? What the heck? Marshmallows. Not mushrooms. Don't put mushrooms in your hot chocolate. No, that's gross. Marshmallows, though. Positive. Most of the time. No, it didn't. But it did after I smashed it. My finger. Now it's all gross and purple. Terrible. Mushroom flavored marshmallows? Question mark. I have tried mushroom flavored coffee. I've tried mushroom flavored hot chocolate. And while they're healthy alternatives, don't do it. Do not waste your money. It is gross. Do not allow any influencer online to tell you, I love mushroom flavored coffee. It's so good and full of like health nutrients. It tastes nothing like coffee. I tried it. And I have nothing positive to say about it. Don't do it. Deadfish says, I've had mushroom chocolates. I haven't tried those. Are those good? Is the question that I need to know. And I feel like I've been saying that a lot. That is the question. Yeah, but it is. I could just be a philosopher at this point. If you have questions, place them in all caps. It's a lot easier for me to read. Hot dog flavored hot chocolate? Is this a joke? Have you tried this? For cash? Because that sounds grody. I like both, but not together in one sip. Not yummy. Talking about mushrooms. How do we even get into mushrooms? It's because I made a mistake. That's why. But now everyone's on mushrooms. talking about it, and respect. Uncle Heavy says, Christina, do you think that religious pressures are slowing disclosure? No, I don't. I know it was the narrative back in the day of like, oh, it's going to shatter people's paradigms that are in religions about UFOs. But that's changed. I've had the pleasure to speak with a Catholic theologian, Paul Thigpen, who, funny enough, was on News Nation with Ross Coulthard, gosh, months ago now. But he's great. I love him. And also, of course, Dr. Diana Pasulka as well. And these people have shown an interest in not only religious studies, but also ufology. And then also you now have Pope Francis, the Pope, who has also shown an interest in UFOs as well, highlighting certain possibilities and that he would baptize an alien if it were to come to him to be Catholic, things like this. I think it wouldn't make a difference if we were to get some kind of disclosure and it wouldn't affect people's religious ideologies, especially when again, I'm bringing up angels and demons. They're not human, therefore they're aliens. So it's like, it's not a big deal for them. And this can be this can be placed into any religion, not just Catholicism. We can look at Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, so on and so forth. They always show deities, entities, gods that aren't human. That's alien. So I don't think it'd be a big deal. But the narrative 10, 15 years ago was like, oh, it's going to mess up everything. Nah. I mean, at the very least, I hope not. JB says, the mushroom coffee tastes like they brewed dirt, doesn't it? Oh, like very flavored dirt of like the dirtiest dirt. It tastes terrible, but so does black coffee. It tastes like dirt too. Gotta add sugar and milk to that to make it edible. But mushroom coffee, I tried it and I tried to put as much sugar and milk as I possibly could, and it just did not hit the spot. I haven't looked into this, Charles, so I don't have an answer for that, but that'd be cool. I'd like to see it if it was true. That's awesome, Sherry. Taco flavored Doritos with strawberry Mountain Dew in like one drink. That sounds terrible, but like side by side, okay. I can see the hype on that. Mike's, thank you so much. Happy New Year. Doing great. Great way to start the year doing this live stream. Thank you so much for supporting the channel as well and making this stuff happen. Thank you for that. Happy New Year. We're hitting the new year. Yeah. Did anyone celebrate it or just kind of like hang out, chill, sleep before the clock turned 12? The clock ticked 12. How does that saying go anyway? Doesn't even matter. You get what I mean. Let's Jose says, Christina, do you think extraterrestrial life has visited the planet in ancient times? Looking at petroglyphs that we have, cave paintings, and even ancient stories, it seems like that is the case. If we look at the Native Americans here in the US, if we look at indigenous tribes in Europe and Bolivia, just as some mere examples, they have spoken about interactions with star beings. So if we look at those alone, it would seem like our ancestors were visited by extraterrestrials, maybe even interdimensionals, right? All these different dimensionals. I think it's possible. The evidence and the information that we have so far from archaeologists is really leaning towards that possibility. And I wouldn't see why not. Overall, like, planet Earth is really pretty. We have the seasons. We're not tidally locked, so we're rotating around the sun. Every place on Earth, for the most part, is getting sunlight. And I was going to say, not the Mariana Trench, but you get what I mean. we're classified as a water world. I mean, there are so many beautiful things about our planet that we don't see as a constant from our mathematics universally, that it would make sense that there would be visitations, at least as like a vacation spot. It's pretty. You get the mountains, you get the beach, you get some deserts. I love it. Who wouldn't love it? A great question. Really good question. I was already asked this question, and my answer was, I don't know. I don't know. Everyone that I've wanted to interview, I have interviewed. So for 2025, I have some stuff already planned, but if I had to like have a list, I don't have them as of yet. I got to really think about that one. I love Star Trek too. It's so good. The old seasons and all the new seasons. My favorite one so far is Star Trek Discovery with Michael Burnham. I feel like I loved the character development with her. I love her character. Um she's a great actress also. But I really like that one. I also enjoyed the reboot of Picard when they're all super old and they're still doing their investigations. That was really awesome. And then I'm also liking the Strange New Worlds. I haven't seen the new season yet. Has it come out? I don't know, but I haven't seen it either way. But that one's also good. I didn't like in the last season the musical episode. That was like my only pet peeve on the last season. But overall, all the new versions of Star Trek are good, and of course, all of the originals. Those are OGs. Those are classics. So I can't even get upset about those or compare them either. I haven't seen all of them. Okay, I'll admit I have not seen all of them, but the ones that I have seen, the seasons are really good. Uh, let me see. Some good questions, but some of them I don't fully understand. So just rewrite them and rephrase them just a little bit if I skipped your question. P says, if you knew about something that would change the world, but it was confidential, would you violate that agreement? Oh, that's a good question. If I like, I don't know. Okay, so let me just back this up. The reason to why people don't share information, even though it's like earth shattering or life changing, is because they have been trusted not to do so. They've signed NDAs, and if they break the NDA, they will go to prison. There are severe consequences. But, or you could lose your life. We've seen that before. But also, if it was like super duper important and you didn't care, here's probably what I would do. If I was in that predicament, is I would hint at it. I would try to go around it without like infringing that agreement. And I think people have done that in the past. We're seeing that in present day, and it just all depends on if people capture that message, capture the sentence structure as well. So that's probably what I would do, is I would give the information, but in a roundabout way, in order to protect the people watching, but also to make sure that the trust is still there with the information shared to me, right? These kinds of things. So that's what I would do. To kill two birds with one stone, right? Yeah, Little Bird. I didn't like the musical episode either. Yeah, it wasn't that great. What's your favorite food and your favorite dessert? Food, obviously, ramen. Dessert, chocolate. Love chocolate. Any kind of chocolate. I like it. I like fruits and chocolate. That's delicious. I haven't watched Lower Decks. I haven't seen it. I think they did a mashup for Strange New Worlds though, right? In one of the episodes, but I haven't seen it. as of yet. But maybe I will. But I just don't have time to watch a lot of TV shows. When I do, it's like ones that I really want to watch. For instance, Star Trek or the seasons of Loki. Really enjoyed those. Those were great. I hope they make another season. If you have your questions, just place them on all caps. I actually don't know much about this, so I can't comment on this one, Android. And no, I haven't, so I also can't comment on that one, John. I haven't seen it yet. Zen says, my favorite Star Trek is Enterprise. Classic. Somehow being closer to us in the timeline works for me, and the story arc and all that stuff is brilliant. Oh, yeah. It's true. It is good. You can't go wrong with Enterprise. And that's right. If you're enjoying this live stream of us just hanging out, having a good time, hit that like button right down below and subscribe if you want UFO news, updates, case studies, interviews, and more. This is the channel to subscribe to. No, I haven't seen it. Not yet. Oh, of course, Diablo Blanca. It's a fun name. I love Twilight Zone. I actually been watching it since I was like a wee little child. And that episode is, of course, my favorite and so many other people. But my second favorite episode is The Eye of the Beholder. And if you haven't seen it, I love it. And I'll give you guys a rundown. That episode is about this woman who's in this society and she's just hideous. She's so ugly. She has to go through plastic surgery in order to fit in with her civilization. At the very end, I'm spoiling it. At the very end, they unwrap the bandages. She can't be fixed. To her doctors and the nurses, she is just the most ugliest woman on the planet. Now, to our standards here on planet Earth, she's stunning. She is model status. She's beautiful. But the doctors, the nurses, and that civilization, they all have these pig faces. And they couldn't fix her up. So she had to be taken to this own like little civilization of people that look just like her. And to us, they're all models. They're all beautiful men and women. But that whole episode is really just displaying that the perspective of beauty differs from person to person or civilization. And that's just the suspense. You're like, what does she look like? How ugly can she be? And then you're just shocked. You're like, what? She's stunning. Love that episode. Also the one for New Year's, funny enough, which was yesterday, where I don't know what the title is called, but it's the episode where this old man, he's incredibly rich and he's about to die, about to pass away. But he is surrounded by his family that are all there just waiting for him to pass on so that they can take all of his money and all of his possessions. And in that episode, he's in a wheelchair and he's like, hey guys, for New Year's, I want you to wear all of these masks, okay? Just for me, I'm going to pass away. Just do this last wish for me. Now, everyone in this family despises him. They're not interested in him. They're just all greedy for what he worked on during his life, all that income and his house and everything. Well, they're given all of these masks that represent their greed, their lust, their gluttony, kind of like the seven deadly sins, right? And once the clock strikes 12, those masks become their faces. So they are now who they were representing themselves on the inside, visibly on the outside. Such the Twilight Zone, they have such these complex stories and they just make them so interesting to watch. I love Rod Serling. I love all of his work. And Twilight Zone, it just really makes you think. Maybe someone knows the title of that episode about New Year's, because it's just so good. And I haven't seen that one in a while. Let's see. Yeah, Eye of the Beholder. Thank you for sharing that link. Zen, great episode. And maybe someone can share the title. Yeah, Zen says, I remember that episode too. It's good. Ride Upon the Waves. I don't think that's what it's called, but maybe. Oh, Oscar says it's called The Masks. Ah, there we go. I didn't know that, but now I do, and I appreciate that for telling me and everybody else. What's your favorite surreal or funny UFO encounter? Oh, yes, the alien pancake story. That one's funny. A funny encounter? I don't really think most of them are that funny. But I gotta think about this one. Let me get back to you because I don't. On the top of my head, I can't think of one that's like humorous. The pancake one, yeah, that one is kind of goofy. But let me get back to you on that one. That's a good question. Kurt says a lot got inspired from Twilight Zone, including the X-Files and Supernatural. I didn't know that about Supernatural, but now I do. Fun fact. Nice. And if you have questions, place them in all caps so that I can read them. And this is just a very chill day, us just chatting, drinking some beverage, eating some snacks, and just hanging out on New Year's. No UFO cases, nothing to cover here, really. Just two people hanging out and having a good time. If you're enjoying this show, hit that like button right down below. Dang, you missed the whole thing though. We're still here, Tom. You still showed up. Thank you. Let's see. Ooh, that would be cool. I'd like to do that as well. Sherry says, my favorite is a story about how aliens love bread. They'll be in someone's house to abduct a person and points to their loaf of bread like this. I haven't, funny enough, I haven't heard that, but that is very funny. Who doesn't love bread? Bread is so good, so delicious. I don't blame them. But I had not heard that story. That is funny. And I'll throw this question to everyone. What UFO case have you come across that you think is just hilarious? Funny, goofy, silly? I want to hear it from you guys. 'Cause that was a really good question. Any ramen flavor is your most favorite? I really like miso ramen right now, which is really good. Oh, also chicken curry. Ah, so yummy. I like that one. The Dollar Tree here in the States is now holding this like cup noodle that is called chicken curry ramen. Buy it. Just give it a try. Ah, it's so good. I like it so much. You should try it. It's $1. What do you have to lose? If you have a Dollar Tree near you, try their chicken curry ramen. Yummy. I like that one a lot. Have I ever seen an alien? No. How many alien species do you know? I mean, that are visiting? I don't know. But that I've researched, I think like 6 or so that people have mentioned through witness testimony. I did a I Love Lucy marathon during the pandemic. Such a good time, says For Cash. Yeah, that was some good stuff. I don't know if you heard this during our last Christmas stream, but you probably did. I Love Lucy, not Lucy, but Lucille Ball was the one that funded Star Trek because no one wanted to watch it. They were like, "Oh, it's such a dumb idea. No one's gonna care about it." But Lucy says, "No, this is like the best idea ever. I'm going to fund it. I'm going to take care of it." And now it is the most popular TV show of all time. So we can all thank Lucille Ball for funding Star Trek so we can have it all these decades later. Pretty cool stuff, really. Diana asks, what do you think about the drones? Dude, I've been covering it for weeks here on this channel, going into as much detail as possible. But just to give you a summary, There's a lot going on. It's happening all across the world. There have been reports in England, in Germany. I got emails from Australia as well, and across the United States. I think it might be a mixture between military equipment and extraterrestrial equipment at this time. Like as of today, I think it's a mix of a bunch of different things. But also New Jersey does have some very strange military bases there. It's actually heavily infiltrated with military bases. It also does have a Lockheed Martin facility that focuses on drones, along with there's one in Colorado and one in California that emphasize on creating drone equipment. But New Jersey's just been strange. There's been a lot of weird sightings near the Hudson Valley in New York, which is known for its UFO flap a few decades ago. And it's crucial to mention that they're seeing these strange things in the sky again. But there's some weird stuff going on in New Jersey, and I don't calling them drones, it just seems like a term to condition people to tell themselves that they're not seeing a UFO and that they're seeing something explainable like a drone. Hopefully that was a quick summary on that. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Asks Tom. I don't think so. I think well, the term conspiracy theorist, according to legend, is that it was created by the CIA in order to just kind of separate people and classify them as crazy. I don't like using the term conspiracy theorist because I don't feel like it really adds any credibility or credence to anything that we cover. It's like kind of people like tinfoil hat society or whatever. So I wouldn't classify myself as that, but people would probably point the finger and say, Christina, you're a conspiracy theorist. But I wouldn't agree with them. Do you need to refill your chocolate milk? No, I also have water on this side. A nice jug of water because you can't talk all day on chocolate milk alone. Like that will just create more mucus in your throat and that's just gross, right? You gotta have a little bit of both. Croissants or quacksants. Ah, love them. I actually had one for breakfast today. So delicious. Thank you, Terrence. Chris says, do you think aliens have bloopers? I think if they have a sense of humor, they would have to, right? That'd be so funny. I'd like to see those bloopers for sure. But I would have to say yes. At least I would hope so. If they're like funny, right? If you're enjoying this show, hit that like button right down below. And if you have any questions, just put them in all caps. We're just hanging out today, doing our stream on New Year's Day. You know, it's not every like sometimes the holidays, they're not these bright, exciting days. Sometimes they can just be a little down, a little low. And that's why we're doing the stream is for people that are just not really feeling the holidays, right? And they want to hang out, but not really. Here, you don't have to fully commit. That's why we're doing this. It's just to hang out with you. And also bookmark the website ufonews.co to stay up to date on all the UFO news that's happening around the world. Whenever UFOs are being mentioned in an article, my website is an aggregate website, so there you can stay up to date. I also do write articles on there as well that go into detail on specific cases or things that are happening in present day. So if you want to just really stay up to date on this topic, if that's your goal for 2025, bookmark ufonews.co. It is not .com, it is .co. Nice, John. Sherry says there are so many cases that sound like aliens just trolling people. I can see that. I think there have definitely been some cases that question what's going on, what's going on inside of their mind mentally, because I can see how sometimes alien encounters that have been recorded sound like trolling. Danielle, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate that. You make these shows happen, so thank you. the viral shows that says, Sherry, that would be wild. Like, that's wild. That's funny. Probably. Unless they just know what's going on, or like they outlived their civilization and how they had to evolve, so maybe they're more sympathetic. But I can definitely see how any entity, even humans, okay, even humans watch humanity with horrified expressions, horrified fascinations. That's why, what are these called? Cold cases? No, true crime podcasts are blowing up because, like, you're horrified, but you're also invested. So I don't see why ET wouldn't feel the same way. Tony, thank you so much for the super sticker. It says, Happy New Year, Christina. Thank you for all your incredible hard work for the community in 2024. Working, I think mean 3 jobs for the win and still finding time for us. You can bet your boots. I love doing this. And I'm so grateful for you and for everyone watching this live, for watching the replays and seeing what this channel has to offer and being involved in the ride of UFO research. It's a lot of fun, and it's more fun to do it with you than to do it on my own. So thank you so much. Android, thank you again. It says, does your site pull articles that mention UAP too? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Great question. When are you taking the mystery machine around the US, aka the RV? Well, I answered this, but I'll do it again because maybe you're just jumped on the stream. But I'll be renting instead of purchasing, and then when that happens, I will let you know. That's the speediest answer. Thank you so much, Orion. Right back at you. Happy New Year. Hopefully it's full of wonder and discovery. And I think the biggest thing is just being happy. Just absolute happiness. I wish that for you and for everyone watching this. Brian, thank you. It says, do you ever look up your doppelganger, Tiny Hands ASMR? No. No, I do not. Okay, no, actually, when you mentioned it to me the first time, I did look her up. I was like, oh my gosh, how similar can we look? We do look a little similar. Not like ferociously similar. It's not even the right adjective to use, but I don't care. But I think that we could definitely be in the same family. But I've been told I look like quite a few people. If you were to tell me what their names are, it would escape me. But one of them is Elaine from that TV show Seinfeld. That's one of them. And there's a few others that are escaping me right now, but people have told me, and they definitely make it very noticeable in the emails that I get of like, hey, you look like this person. And I say, all I can say is thank you. That's it. Before we wrap this up, we've been doing this for quite some time. What are your expectations for 2025 pertaining to UFO news, disclosure, the conversation? I want to hear it firsthand from you. What expectations do you have? Do you have any expectations at all? Let me know in the live chat. Of course, let me know in the comments as well. I do enjoy reading your comments in like the replays, and I try to write back to as many as I can. Jose says, do you believe in time travel? Science-wise, no. Um, otherwise, like different path, I think I I want to believe it. I want to time travel so bad, but I don't know. I don't know. The most plausible explanation, again, from like a science perspective, because this has been on people's minds since the beginning, right? Especially when you mess up, you're like, man, I wish I could just time travel 10 minutes ago so I didn't make this mistake. The most possible explanation might be that if you were to time travel, you would time travel into a different timeline, so you wouldn't mess up the main timeline. Very much like in the in the series of Loki, right? Very much like that, where there's a main timeline and there's all these branches, and you can affect those branches, and it's not too big of a deal, but you can't affect the main one. Things like this, I think that in that part, it might be more possible than just having only one timeline that you can mess with, because that means every time it's messed with, it would affect it tremendously and make it shatter. From a theoretical and scientific side that people have looked at, of course, there's like the grandfather paradox, the butterfly effects, these things that have been mentioned time and time again. And they do hold some credibility, but because it hasn't been done before that we know of, I don't know. Of course, you can bring up the Montauk Project with Albeit, for instance, but from my perspective, I don't know. I really don't. Trying to I want to hear your thoughts on what you think is going to happen in 2025. But I'm trying to read the chat as fast as possible. Marker says, I wouldn't do CE5. You don't know what entities you're attracting. That's what I've heard as well. It's kind of like playing with the Ouija board. I haven't tried CE5 before, but I've definitely seen people's reactions to some being very positive, having positive experiences, and then some people just not really vibing with it and saying, dude, you could actually just be inviting a pretty malicious entity, like with the Ouija board. So I get that. Diana says, I expect contact. Ooh, if it happens in 2025, Diana, I'm going to give you a call. I'll say, girl, you called it. See what I did there? That'd be cool. That would be. If it was like contact in a global sense, there are many people that say that they've had experiences, encounters, alleged alien abductions, right? All these different things. But if it were to be like a global contact, Diana, I'll give you a call. Did I miss one? For Cash says, I expect that the government secret keepers will slowly lose their grip on keeping the truth from us, and like a dam bursting forth, we will finally have some answers. I like the optimism. I hope so. I do. The way that things are kind of going, it seems like we're heading in that direction in some ways. There definitely is a battle happening in the background between those that want this conversation to come to light and those that don't. We definitely seen this with responses from Anna Paulina Luna, Moscovich, and Tim Burchett as well. They have mentioned publicly that there are those that are trying to silence this whole thing, that are trying to make it difficult for them to continue investigating this topic, but they continue pushing forward. So I would like for us to get what you're hopefully expecting for Cash, and I think we can head in that direction. All Work says catastrophic disclosure 2025. Nice. I would like that. That'd be fun. Or terrifying. But I'm leaning on the fun side. Danny says the government wouldn't admit UFOs are real if one crashed on the White House lawn. Yeah, they would say it's drones, right? Guys, it's drones. I mean, are you silly? Come on. That's very possible. Actually, incredibly possible. Rome says maybe a UFO appear above a big city, like really low, and we get to see it in Fox News or any news. That'd be cool. Now, Mihei says that CE5 works. Give it a shot. I would say, do you? If you feel cautious about it, continue feeling cautious. But if you feel like it's going to be a positive experience, if you want to give it a try, nobody's stopping you but you. But maybe be with someone that is knowledgeable on it, at least for like your first time. If I had to give advice, that's what I would say. That's funny. You guys are so fast in the chat. Jose, thank you. Great question. The best way to be a Patreon member, you can click that link. It's actually right down below in the description box. And for Patreon members, they get behind the scenes videos, photos, they get updates. They actually also give their advice and opinions on questions that I have in order to help the social media platforms. I actually really enjoy hearing your feedback on questions that I have, which I've been doing rather recently. I know people can speak to that, like Marty is, I think he's still in the chat here. But when you become a member, you also get free merch as well. And it really helps the show. It helps this channel. And it allows me to do more shows here to give you the best quality of UFO news, UFO updates, interviews, and more. That is one of the best places to support the channel, and you get one of the most perks, more so than the super chats, more so than being a YouTube member, being a Patreon member. You get a lot for what you donate to the channel. So I recommend it. I really do. And great question, Jose. Thank you. And I think we're actually going to end it right here. Again, having a good time. Very chill. If you enjoyed the show, I know I've said it so many times. I'm going to say it yet again. Hit that like button right down below and subscribe if you haven't already, as we do several shows right here every single week. Everything to do with UFOs. Also, take a look at my website at ufonews.co to stay up to date as to what's going on around the world with the UFO phenomenon. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoy the strange and the mysterious, UFOs, the paranormal, and cryptids, this channel is for you. So make sure to subscribe, as I do 3 videos right here every single week, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the bonus content I post right here.